Hi, this is Kelly Shibari with Hot Movies for Her, and this is 6.9 Questions with
Sinnamon Love.
Hi, Cinnamon.
Hi.
How long have you been in the business, and how'd you get in?
I started in the business in 1993, so I was an active performer for 17 years, but I'm still active in the business in other ways, so it would be about 20 years.
And so you used to be a performer, and now you do more...
Now I do more sex education. I'm a writer, and I guest lecture at colleges, universities, conferences.
On anything specific?
Mostly on sex, porn, and sex work.
Okay. And how did you get into the industry?
I started the business when I was 19, going through a bloody divorce, and I was in college. I had two small kids, and it was a way for me to quit one of my jobs and continue, with school.
Cool. You've been in the industry for a while, or you were in the industry for quite a while. What is maybe like the funniest thing that ever happened on set?
The funniest thing that ever happened on set was on the set of Chemistry 4. It was the first movie I shot for Tristan Taormino, and halfway through at the beginning of the movie, Evan Stone had to leave set because he was double booked, and so he left set to go shoot his scene for someone else and then came back. But when he arrived back, we were in the middle of a tantric workshop. So Evan he jumped into the middle of this tantric workshop with a full tiger costume on and scared everybody. Like, everyone just started laughing. Tyler Knight screamed like a girl. No one even knew that he was back. He just showed up, came in through the garage, changed into this full furry tiger costume with his face out and the headpiece with the ears and the bodysuit and the tail, and just pounced on us in the middle of the scene.
And that is very Evan Stone.
It was very Evan Stone, and it was absolutely hilarious.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about women in the industry?
I think the biggest misconception is that women in the industry are not intelligent, that they are doing porn because it's a last resort. And that they don't have any other choices. And while for some women it is true that they get into porn because it is a way of making money without having a lot of overhead or a lot of education, there are a lot of women, especially these days, that get into porn because it is a profitable business, and they are educated women that are making a conscious business decision. So I think that that's probably the biggest misconception.
I know you're not performing these days, but if you had never been in the industry, what do you think you would have been doing?
That's a good question. I was, before I got into the business, I was in school to be a nurse. I did get my bachelor's in nursing from USC. But I didn't like being a nurse, so I don't know. I worked for an LA County clinic for a period of time, and I hated it. I mean, my young college, idealism totally fell apart when I went into real-time work. So I don't know what I would be doing.
Are there things that you learned from being in the industry that you can pass on to couples or even single people?
Yes, I definitely. I think. Well, one of the biggest questions I get asked often is about having anal sex, because my movies, I was very, very well known for my anal sex scenes. So I always tell people, definitely silicone-based lubes to me are much better than using water-based lubes, because water-based lubes get sticky and you have to keep applying them over and over again. And even though you often will see doggy as a preferred position in anal sex scenes, it's not the most practical position for someone that is just starting out or trying it. I usually recommend that people trying anal for the first time do like missionary or woman on top, anything where the woman can be more in control of force of entry. That way she can be relaxed and comfortable and stop and start as she needs, because she can hold on to it, to the guy's penis. So those two little tidbits are my advice for great anal sex for couples.
Well, actually, here's a good question. What's the easiest way to get clean up after using silicone lube? Because that gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere, and it's super sticky. I don't have a foolproof way of cleaning up.
Just a lot of soap and water.
A lot of soap and water, and you don't have to use as much silicone lube as you would water-based lubes. Mm-hmm. So if you keep that in mind, because silicone-based lube is much slippier.
Mm-hmm. Slipperier.
Sorry, I haven't had my coffee yet today. So if you keep that in mind, you can use a little bit less. That way you have a little less to clean up.
So a little goes a long way.
A little goes a long way. Yeah.
And final question, what makes you a feminist?
My feminist ideals, definitely. I mean, I was born in '73, so my mom was a feminist. My mom was, I grew up with, both women that were, my grandmothers were both housewives that never worked. My mom was definitely a feminist who worked outside the home, and I grew up with a lot of feminist ideals. I'm raising my daughter to be, my daughter's a neo-feminist, and I definitely consider myself. My politics is what makes me a feminist. I'm pro-choice, and I believe in the right to safe abortions, and I believe in the right for women to choose whether they want to work outside the home or if they want to stay home and raise their kids. I believe in the right to sex work. Sex work is labor, and commercialization of one's body and one's sex life if one chooses to. I don't think that should be criminalized. And my politics is what makes me a feminist. There is this question. I mean, my piece in the Feminist Porn book is actually called The Question of Feminist, and it's all about my coming to terms as a black feminist pornographer, because I am a pornographer, even though I'm no longer actively producing or actively performing in porn. It is a part of my identity. I am a pornographer by trade and by nature, and my feminism isn't separate from that. I am, my 15-year-old can easily talk about, why she's pro-choice and argue someone down about not being pro-choice. And so, and that's because of my own personal belief system and my politics, and I think that's what makes me feminist above everything else.
Well, Sinnamon Love, thank you so much. And I know that we can find tons of your movies on Hot Movies for Her.
Yes.
And you have a presentation to do a little bit later today.
I do. I am speaking on feminist identity in porn and in porn making and porn scholarship.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks.
And we'll see you soon.
Thanks. Bye.